pretty sure I want to start a family in the next 5 years.
Nice. Okay.
Just make more friends and close people I love.
Imagine this: a young Eagle Scout from Texas with a promising career and passion for freedom creates one of the largest black markets in internet history. This isn't a movie. It's the real story of Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the Silk Road. His dream of absolute freedom transformed him from a bright student to one of the FBI's most wanted criminals, running a dark web marketplace valued at over $1.2 billion. But how does a Boy Scout, an academic achiever, a scholarship student, become one of the most wanted men in the digital world? Ross Ulbricht's story is as astonishing as it is tragic. It's a tale of idealism turned to crime, and how a desire for unrestricted freedom spiraled into a network for drug sales, weapons, and illicit goods. Born in 1984, Ross grew up in Austin, Texas, the son of Kirk and Lyn Ulbricht. Raised in a supportive, middle-class home, Ross excelled in his studies and lived up to the highest standards of Boy Scouts, eventually earning the rank of Eagle Scout, a title awarded only to the most dedicated scouts.
He's an exceptional kid. He was an exceptional kid. He had qualities that are noble. He cares about people. He's honest, trustworthy.
He's very creative. He's very idealistic.
Ross excelled academically, earning scholarships and ultimately graduating from the University of Texas at Dallas with a degree in physics. His passion for science and knowledge earned him a spot in Penn State University's graduate program for material science and engineering. Here, Ross's life took a turn. He was exposed to new ideas, particularly around personal freedom and the limits of government intervention. While at Penn State, Ross became fascinated with libertarian ideals. To him, individual freedom was sacred. He argued that people should have the right to make their unknown choices, especially if those choices didn't harm others. This belief that people should control their own bodies would fuel what would become his life's mission. But as Ross's idealism deepened, it took a radical turn. Inspired by his newfound belief in total personal freedom, Ross became convinced that people should have unrestricted access to anything they desired, even drugs. This was no longer just a philosophy. It was becoming a vision for a new kind of marketplace.
The Silk Road.
The Silk Road.
The Silk Road.
The FBI calls it the most sophisticated criminal marketplace on the internet.
Tonight, its founder is behind bars.
That stunning arrest of the drug kingpin who goes by the name Dread Pirate Roberts appears to have cornered the internet drug market. His real name is Ross Ulbricht, and his website, Silk Road, is packed with products like cocaine and heroin.
In 2009, Ross graduated and returned to Texas, hoping to find a way to make an impact. But his early ventures, including day trading and an online bookstore, floundered. Frustrated and uncertain about his future, Ross's search for purpose only deepened his resolve. Then in 2011, Ross had an idea that would forever change his life in the internet. What if there was a platform where people could buy anything they wanted without government interference? He envisioned a free market where people could trade anonymously without rules or fear of arrest. To make his vision a reality, Ross needed a way to operate undetected. He hosted the site on the dark web, accessible only through Tor, which masked users' identities. And he chose Bitcoin as the sole currency, a new digital cryptocurrency that promised near total anonymity. In early 2011, Ross launched Silk Road, adopting the alias Dread Pirate Roberts, inspired by the legendary character in The Princess Bride. This pseudonym allowed him to build a reputation while keeping his real identity a secret. The site's premise? A marketplace for anything. No names, no faces, no paper trail. Word spread fast. Posing as an average user, Ross posted about Silk Road on online forums to generate buzz. Curious users flocked to the site. The first sale was a batch of psychedelic mushrooms grown by Ross himself. But soon, Silk Road expanded to host vendors offering everything from fake IDs to controlled substances. In less than 2 years, Silk Road became the largest black market on the internet, generating over $1.2 billion in transactions. For Ross, this was the success of his libertarian dream, an open marketplace where users could make their own choices, free from interference. But this success came at a cost. Ross's personal life unraveled. His girlfriend, Julia V., worried about his secretive project and his growing obsession with Silk Road. She feared that his alter ego, Dread Pirate Roberts, was consuming him. In 2011, Silk Road went public. A Gawker article revealed its existence to the world. This newfound publicity attracted thousands of users, but it also caught the attention of the FBI and DEA. Ross knew his empire was on the radar. Rather than back down, Ross doubled down, fortifying Silk Road and hiring more staff to keep operations secret. But the authorities weren't the only threat. Ross's empire was beginning to attract other criminals. In 2013, Ross faced his biggest threat yet. Curtis Green, one of Silk Road's top employees, was arrested and cooperated with the DEA. Fearing Green might betray him, Ross made a chilling decision. In his role as Dread Pirate Roberts, he paid an agent known as Knob, who was actually DEA agent Carl Force, to arrange Green's murder. Knob staged Green's death to satisfy Ross, but the incident revealed the lengths Ross would go to protect his creation. Meanwhile, the FBI had located Silk Road's server in Iceland and gathered overwhelming evidence. Then, an IRS investigator, Gary Alford, connected the dots. An early Silk Road post by Altoid was traced back to an email linked to Ross Ulbricht. The investigation had its man. On October 1st, 2013, the FBI arrested Ross in a San Francisco library.
The biggest criminal trial in the history of the internet is over this morning, and so apparently is Ross Ulbricht's freedom.
He's been sentenced to life in prison.
Ross Ulbricht was just sentenced to life in prison without parole and fined more than $183 million.
Catching him logged into Silk Road as Dread Pirate Roberts. His laptop contained damning evidence, personal journals, chat logs, and financial records. Ross's trial was one of the most high-profile in internet history. Prosecutors presented an overwhelming case showing the impact of Silk Road on drug sales and violent crime. Despite Ross's defense arguing he was framed, the evidence of his own words sealed his fate. The court found Ross Ulbricht guilty on all charges, including money laundering, computer hacking, and conspiracy to traffic narcotics. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Despite Ross's downfall, the impact of Silk Road extended far beyond his sentence. His vision of an unrestricted marketplace inspired numerous copycat sites on the dark web, igniting a global debate on digital freedom and privacy. To this day, Ross's story fuels arguments over the right to online privacy versus the need for law enforcement to protect citizens from harm. What Ross created was an attempt to take back individual freedom. Yes, it got out of control, but the idea of a free, unregulated marketplace is not evil by itself. Ross's mother, Lyn Ulbricht, believes her son's sentence was far too harsh. She continues to fight for a reduction, arguing that Ross was not the violent criminal portrayed in court.
Mr. President, my son, Ross Ulbricht, is a peaceful, first-time offender. Ross deeply regrets this terrible mistake and is eager to contribute to society and our nation.
Advocacy groups and petitions have rallied behind her, but so far, her efforts have not succeeded. For others, Ross's story serves as a cautionary tale, an idealistic young man with a vision of freedom who became a drug lord, driven to protect his empire at any cost. His dream created a vast black market that enabled countless tragedies, including overdoses, violence, and exploitation. The legacy of Ross Ulbricht and Silk Road endures, not just as a dark chapter in internet history, but as a reflection of the challenges in balancing freedom and law in an increasingly digital world. The Boy Scout who became Dread Pirate Roberts found his own freedom, but at a cost he may never have foreseen. Thank you for watching. If you found this story thought-provoking, be sure to subscribe for more in-depth looks at the darker corners of the internet and the real stories behind them.